The stars of the Drellian sector had always seemed calm, sparkling quietly against the infinite black of space. For centuries, the Galactic Empire had ruled this region without question. Patrol ships glided silently between the stars, their scanners scanning for even the smallest anomalies. Everyone knew the rules. No ship could enter Empire space without permission, and no species dared challenge its authority. But that calm was about to shatter. In the heart of the Empire's capital, on the planet Varanth, the command center hummed with activity. Officers moved swiftly between consoles, eyes glued to glowing screens. The soft blue light of the monitors reflected off the polished surfaces of the room, casting long shadows on tense faces. At the center of it all stood Captain Rylan Varys, a man known for his steady hand in crises. His calm demeanor had kept fleets in line during countless skirmishes, but even he felt a knot tighten in his stomach. Suddenly, alarms blared. Red warning lights flashed across the command center. The sharp, urgent tone echoed off the walls. Rylan froze, his eyes snapping to the main radar display. There it was, a massive object moving steadily through their sector. It wasn't an asteroid, not a rogue drone swarm, nor a lost cargo vessel. It was a human warship. The room went silent. Humans had long been distant neighbors, scattered across isolated systems. Their technology was limited compared to the Empire, and they were not supposed to appear in this space. Yet here it was, a colossal warship, sleek and powerful, gliding boldly into forbidden territory. "Report," Rylan barked, his voice cutting through the tension. Lieutenant Zara Miles leaned over her console, her fingers flying across the controls. "Sir, it appears to be a human warship. Unknown class, unknown capabilities. It bypassed our outer defenses. It jumped through hyperspace undetected." Rylan's jaw tightened. "Impossible." Admiral Threxer Cade, towering and grim-faced, moved closer to the screen. "No human vessel could perform that maneuver without detection. This is unprecedented. Something is happening, and we don't even understand it yet." Murmurs spread throughout the room. Panic and fear mixed with disbelief. Officers whispered to each other, eyes wide with worry. But Rylan remained composed. He knew that any rash decision could ignite a war the Empire was not ready for. "All fleets, raise shields," he commanded. "Prepare for inspection. Do not engage unless fired upon. We need answers before war begins." Outside the capital, the human warship moved silently through the void. Its surface shimmered in the faint light of nearby stars. But there was something strange about it. It didn't move like ordinary ships. Its energy readings were unlike anything the Empire had ever seen. Seemed almost alive. In the Emperor's private council chamber, the atmosphere was tense. Emperor Darius Vallon, draped in dark robes that seemed to swallow the light, listened silently as his advisors and generals argued. "We must destroy it immediately," shouted General Karen Drell, slamming a fist on the polished table. "It's a threat to our sovereignty. One strike, and it's gone." "No," countered Counselor Vera Loon, her voice calm but firm. "We do not know its intent. Humans may be peaceful, or smarter than we think. A mistake here could start a war we cannot win." Darius narrowed his eyes. "And if we do nothing?" he asked softly. "Chaos," muttered a senior advisor. "Our colonies will panic. Our fleets will be paralyzed. This is a breach we cannot ignore." Meanwhile, aboard the human warship, Commander Celera Vey stood in front of a holographic display, watching the Empire fleets mobilize. She was tall, dressed in simple silver armor, her expression calm and unreadable. "Keep your composure," she told the crew. "They do not understand us yet. Our mission is clear. We are not here to provoke war unless they force it." A young officer leaned forward. "Commander, do you think they will attack?" Celera shook her head slowly. "No. They are curious, scared, and proud. Curiosity will keep them cautious for now. Pride may be their downfall." Back on Varanth, the Empire's colonies reported unusual phenomena. Energy spikes, strange lights, and sudden blackouts caused panic among civilians. Governors sent urgent messages to the capital, demanding protection and answers. In the command center, Rylan observed the human warship. It hadn't fired a single shot. It hadn't moved aggressively. And yet, its presence alone created fear. It was a symbol. Humanity was no longer weak, no longer distant. The Empire's dominance was no longer guaranteed. "Sir," Lieutenant Zara whispered, her voice barely audible. "They're waiting for us to act." Rylan nodded slowly. "Then we act carefully. One wrong move, and this could ignite a war that none of us are ready for." As Varantha's sun rose over the capital, the human warship hovered silently in orbit, a dark silhouette against the light of the stars. For the first time in centuries, the Galactic Empire felt fear. Deep inside the ship, humans prepared for what was coming. Deep inside the Empire, leaders prepared for a war they never imagined. And across the Empire networks, a single message still echoed. "We come for peace or war." The words were simple, but their meaning was heavy. The galaxy had changed forever. The human warship drifted silently through the darkness of space, its sleek hull reflecting the distant starlight. From orbit around the Empire's capital planet Varanth, it looked almost peaceful. But to the crews of the Empire fleet, it was a looming threat, a shadow that neither science nor strategy could explain. Captain Rylan Varys stared at the holographic displays before him. His fingers hovered over the controls, though he had no clear command yet. Every reading from the human vessel was strange. Its energy output fluctuated in ways he had never seen. Shields appeared and vanished like ghosts. Propulsion systems didn't match any known human or alien technology. "Lieutenant Zara, are the sensors accurate?" Rylan asked, a note of disbelief in his voice. Zara's hands flew over the console. "Sir, everything checks out. The ship's power systems are unlike anything we've cataloged. It's moving, almost as if it knows we are watching." Admiral Threxer Cade leaned over, his face grim. "Impossible. Humans should not have this technology. We've studied their systems for decades. This is beyond anything we imagined." Rylan clenched his jaw. "Then we are dealing with something new, something dangerous. Prepare scout ships. I want visual confirmation but no engagement." "Understood." "Yes, sir," Zara replied, though unease tinged her voice. Meanwhile, aboard the human warship, Commander Celera Vey monitored the Empire's reactions. She had spent years studying the Galactic Empire's strategies, tactics, and weaknesses. The humans had not come here to fight, but she knew that appearances could be misleading. Pride and fear were strong motivators in any species, especially one that ruled a galaxy for centuries. "Keep your formation steady," Celera instructed. "We are not here to provoke them. Let curiosity guide their actions, but be prepared. If they strike, we strike back, but only in defense." A young officer glanced at her nervously. "Commander, do you think they'll attack?" Celera shook her head. "Not yet. They are cautious, but pride may force their hand eventually. Let's hope curiosity lasts longer." Back on Varanth, the Empire scrambled. For scout ships, fast and heavily armed, launched from the capital. Their engines glowed against the black void, a faint blue streak in the darkness. Captain Rylan followed their progress with bated breath. "Visual confirmation?" he asked, his voice taut with tension. Lieutenant Zara's fingers danced over the controls. "They are approaching the warship now, scanning for weapons, propulsion, life forms." Then the impossible happened. The 4 scouts vanished. All at once. No warning. No explosion. Just gone. Rylan's eyes widened. How is that possible?" "Sir," Zara whispered, her voice trembling, "there is no record of this technology. No signature left behind. It's as if they just erased themselves from our sensors." Admiral Threxer slammed his fist on the console. "This cannot be. Humans do not have this capability. We must be experiencing a malfunction." But the readings were clear. The scouts were gone, and the human warship remained, calm and unscathed, floating like a sentinel in the void. In the Emperor's Grand Council chamber, arguments erupted again. Emperor Darius Vallon remained seated, his dark robes folding around him like shadows. "This is unacceptable," General Karen Drell shouted. "Their technology is an insult. They cannot be allowed to roam freely in our space. Launch the fleet. Destroy it before it becomes unstoppable." "Patience," Counselor Vera Loon countered sharply. "Destroying them without understanding will provoke a war. A war we cannot control. They may be stronger than we imagine, yes, but knowledge is the key. Observe before you act." Darius raised a hand, silencing the room. "And if observation leads to nothing?" he asked softly. "Then we prepare," Vera replied. "We prepare for the consequences. But do not act rashly. That is the path to disaster." Meanwhile, across the galaxy, the human ship sent out silent probes. They scanned, measured, and collected data on the Empire's defenses, fleets, and communications. None of these actions were aggressive. The humans did not wish for war. They only wished to understand, to gauge the risks, and to ensure their mission could succeed without bloodshed. Back on Varanth, panic spread through the colonies. Citizens reported strange phenomena. Lights streaking across the sky, sudden power surges, and unusual signals appearing on communication networks. Governors demanded explanations from the capital, but none could be provided. Fear gripped the populace like a cold hand. In the command center, Rylan continued to study the human warship. Its calm, silent presence unnerved him. It had not fired a single shot. Its energy readings were unlike anything in Empire archives. Yet the ship projected an undeniable sense of power, a quiet, confident strength that made every officer in the room uneasy. "They're waiting for us," Lieutenant Zara murmured. Rylan nodded slowly. "Yes, but they are not attacking. At least not yet. One wrong move, and this could spiral into a war we're not ready for." And indeed, the humans were watching. Commander Celera Vey studied the Empire fleet with keen eyes. She understood the Empire's pride, its fear, and its hesitation. They were predictable in their unpredictability. "Observe, but do not provoke," Celera instructed her crew. "Let them come to conclusions on their own. We are not the aggressors. Yet." Suddenly, another message appeared across all Empire networks. It was brief but powerful. "We do not seek war, but we will defend ourselves if threatened." The command center went silent. Every officer stared at the message, comprehension struggling to catch up with fear. Admiral Threxer clenched his fists. "This is no ordinary human vessel. We are witnessing a new era, whether we like it or not." Outside the capital, the human warship drifted effortlessly through space. Its systems glowed softly, casting faint reflections on the void. It seemed alive, intelligent, and patient. For the first time, the Empire realized that humanity was no longer distant, no longer weak. They had arrived, and their presence would change everything. And somewhere deep within the Empire, Emperor Darius Vallon's eyes burned with a mixture of curiosity, fear, and determination. The humans had come, and the galaxy was about to face a power it had never imagined. The halls of the Galactic Empire's Grand Council chamber were silent, yet heavy with tension. Emperor Darius Vallon sat on his throne, his tall, dark figure framed by the towering windows that overlooked the capital city of Varanth. Outside, patrol fleets hovered in the sky, engines humming like a restless heartbeat. Inside, the chamber buzzed with voices, debates, and arguments. The appearance of the human warship had thrown the Empire into chaos. For centuries, their authority had gone unchallenged. Citizens, fleets, and colonies had all obeyed without question. But now, the unexpected arrival of humans, far beyond their own space, had shaken the very foundation of power. General Karen Drell, a man known for his explosive temper and aggressive strategies, slammed his fist onto the council table. "This is intolerable. They have entered our space without permission, bypassed our defenses, and shown capabilities beyond anything we've ever seen. We must strike immediately. Destroy the ship before it becomes unstoppable." He looked around, expecting agreement, but instead found heated opposition. Strike blindly? Counselor Veraloon replied sharply, her voice calm but commanding. You speak as if this is a simple problem, General. We do not know their intentions. Rushing to attack could ignite a war that we cannot control. Observe before acting. Study them, learn their motives, and then decide. Karen growled, slamming his fist again. Study them while they gather strength? Do you realize what this does to our colonies? Panic is spreading. Citizens are terrified. If we delay, we risk losing control of the sector. Emperor Darius raised a hand, and the room fell silent. His voice, low but firm, cut through the tension. And if they mean to destroy us? He asked quietly. A hush fell over the chamber. Even the loudest generals and advisors paused. This question, though spoken softly, struck fear into everyone present. They may not intend war, Vera answered carefully, but they have the power to defend themselves, and if provoked, then no one can predict the consequences. Humanity has surprised us before. We must be wise, not impulsive. Admiral Threxer Cade leaned forward, his eyes dark with concern. Wisdom? With all due respect, Counselor, wisdom has limits. If we wait too long, the humans may act on their own terms. Their technology, it is unlike anything we have seen. They could destroy entire fleets without a single warning. Darius's expression remained unreadable, though a flicker of doubt crossed his eyes. He had ruled the Empire for decades, guiding it through rebellions, invasions, and crises. But this was different. The humans were unknown. Their motives were unknown. Their capabilities, frighteningly unknown. Meanwhile, reports poured in from the colonies. Governors demanded answers. Citizens reported strange lights in the sky, unexpected energy surges, and unusual blackouts. Panic spread like wildfire. Messages from every corner of the sector flooded the Emperor's communication network, each one urgent, each one fearful. Captain Rylan Varys stood in the command center of Varanth, watching the human warship through the fleet's long-range sensors. It had not fired a single weapon. It had not moved aggressively. And yet, its presence created a tension that was almost tangible. They're waiting for us to make the first move, Lieutenant Zara Miles murmured. Rylan nodded slowly. Yes, and if we make the wrong move, we could start a war that none of us are ready for. One mistake and the galaxy could burn. In a secure room beneath the council chamber, human commanders monitored the Empire's reactions. Commander Celera Vey studied holographic maps and fleet movements, noting every pause, every hesitation. They are proud, cautious, and fearful, she said quietly. Curiosity keeps them from striking immediately. Pride may force them into mistakes. Patience is our ally, but it cannot last forever. A young human officer leaned closer. Commander, if they attack first? Solara's eyes narrowed. Then we defend, but only with precision, not chaos. Remember, we are not aggressors. We only respond to threats. Back in the council chamber, debate raged on. Some generals demanded immediate action, while others urged careful observation. Arguments overlapped, voices rose, and tempers flared. Darius remained seated, silent for long moments, weighing each word carefully. Finally, he spoke, his tone carrying the weight of absolute authority. The humans have entered our space. They have demonstrated technology we do not understand. We cannot destroy them without knowing the cost. We also cannot ignore them. Prepare reconnaissance missions. Observe but do not provoke. Ensure every fleet knows the rules. Only defensive action, no engagement unless fired upon. The room fell silent again. It was not a popular decision, but it was clear that the Emperor's judgment was final. Outside the chamber, the Empire's fleets moved into new formations. Ships raised shields, engines flared with readiness, and weapon systems hummed quietly. Every captain, every officer, understood that they were watching something beyond comprehension. The humans were powerful, silent, and patient. Meanwhile, the human warship continued its steady drift through space, calm and unhurried. Celera Vey observed the Empire's fleet. She noted the precision, the hesitation, and the fear. She understood their tactics, their pride, and their limitations. "They are testing us," she said softly. "Every action, every hesitation, it teaches us about them. But we cannot wait forever. They may grow impatient, and impatience is dangerous." In the Empire's colonies, fear turned to whispers of rebellion. Citizens began questioning the Empire's ability to protect them. Governors demanded explanations they could not provide. Panic rippled through the sector like an invisible storm, fueled by the unknown presence of the humans. Captain Rylan, watching the human warship, finally spoke. "We must be careful. This is no ordinary ship. It is intelligent, patient, and powerful. We may not even understand what we are facing. One false step and the galaxy could change forever." The council chamber remained tense. Emperor Darius rose slowly, his eyes scanning the room. "Prepare our defenses. Observe the humans. Learn their capabilities. And remind every colony that the Empire is vigilant, even in the face of the unknown. The humans have arrived, and we must face them with caution, wisdom, and strength." As night fell over Varanth, the human warship hovered silently in the void, a dark and enigmatic figure against the light of distant stars. For the first time in centuries, the Galactic Empire felt uncertainty. Fear lingered in every mind, and questions without answers filled every conversation. The humans had arrived, and with their arrival, the Empire realized that its control over the galaxy was no longer absolute. Something new, powerful, and unknown had entered their space, and the galaxy would never be the same. The human warship had drifted silently in orbit above the Empire's colony world of Zirith, 9 for days. Its presence was like a shadow cast over the planet, unsettling every observer. On the surface, the colony's citizens went about their routines, but the unease was palpable. Lights in the sky, sudden power fluctuations, and mysterious energy readings made them whisper of strange and dangerous forces. In the Empire's command center on Varanth, Captain Rylan Varys studied the human ship with growing concern. It had not fired a weapon. It had not moved aggressively. And yet, every scan, every reading hinted at power beyond comprehension. "Sir," Lieutenant Zara Miles said softly, "they're not attacking, but they're waiting." Rylan nodded. "Yes, they are sending a message without words. We have to respond carefully." Meanwhile, in the Emperor's council chamber, debates raged again. Emperor Darius Vallon listened, his expression unreadable, as generals and advisors shouted over one another. "We must strike," General Karen Drell demanded. "They have violated our space. They are a threat. Immediate destruction is the only solution. Strike without understanding, and we may ignite a war we cannot contain," countered Counselor Vera Loon calmly. "They have not attacked. Observe, learn, and proceed carefully. Patience is our ally here." Darius raised a hand, silencing the room. "Then we observe, but we do not remain idle. Captain Varys, prepare a liaison fleet. You will approach the human vessel and establish communication. Use every precaution. No aggressive actions." "Yes, Your Majesty," Rylan replied, bowing slightly before leaving the chamber. The approach. Rylan's fleet, for sleek Empire ships, emerged from hyperspace near Zirith 9. The human warship floated silently, almost inviting contact. Its energy signatures were stable, its systems calm. The fleet advanced cautiously, shields raised, weapons ready but not armed. Rylan's heart pounded. He had faced countless crises, but nothing like this. He gave orders carefully, keeping his voice steady. "Maintain formation. Approach at half speed. Open communication channels. We do this to understand, not to provoke." The human ship responded immediately, a soft glow emanating from its hull. A holographic communication link appeared on Rylan's display. And then he saw her, Commander Celera Vey, standing tall and calm, her silver armor reflecting the light of distant stars. "Captain Varys." Celara's voice was clear and steady, carrying authority without aggression. "We have not come to fight. We only seek dialogue. We wish to understand the Empire, and to be understood in return. Rylan swallowed. The calmness in her voice was unsettling, but he steadied himself. Commander Celera, I am Captain Rylan Varys of the Galactic Empire. You have entered forbidden space. Your presence is unprecedented. Explain your actions. Celara's eyes met his through the holographic link. We observed your empire for decades. We have learned of your fleets, your colonies, your ways. We have come to establish contact. Not to conquer, not to provoke, only to communicate. Our goal is coexistence, if possible. Rylan glanced at his fleet. Every officer was tense, unsure how to respond. The humans had not attacked. Yet their power was undeniable. They could destroy the Empire's scout ships or entire fleets, if provoked. And if the Empire refuses dialogue? Rylan asked, carefully measuring his words. Celara's expression remained calm. Then we defend ourselves. We will not strike first. But we are not weak. We will protect our mission, and our people, if necessary. The first exchange. A tense silence hung over the communications link. The Empire fleet hovered, unsure whether to advance, retreat, or wait. Meanwhile, back on Zereth 9, energy readings surged as both sides studied each other. Citizens watched the sky anxiously, unaware of the delicate diplomacy unfolding above them. Rylan's voice broke the tension. Commander Celera, you are far from your systems. Your technology is impressive. Your presence here threatens to destabilize the sector. But your intent seems peaceful. I will take your words to the Emperor and his council. For now, we observe and do not attack. Celera inclined her head slightly. Wise. Observation is the path to understanding. Remember, Captain Varys, strength alone does not define a species. Knowledge, patience, and restraint are also forms of power. As the fleet maintained its position, the humans deployed small sensor drones, non-aggressive, hovering silently in space. They scanned the Empire ships without firing a weapon or showing hostility. The Empire officers watched in awe and unease. Lieutenant Zara whispered, almost to herself, "They're teaching us, without touching us. How is this possible?" Rylan did not answer. He only watched, carefully recording every movement, every detail. The humans were demonstrating control, discipline, and power, all without aggression. Tensions rise. In the council chamber, the Emperor's advisors were divided. Some wanted immediate retaliation. Others urged patience. Darius Vallon remained silent, weighing the reports, considering every angle. The humans' message was clear. They could fight if necessary, but they did not want war. That alone challenged the Empire's assumptions about dominance, authority, and fear. We cannot underestimate them, Counselor Vera said quietly. Their technology is beyond anything we've encountered. Yet they show restraint. They do not seek war. We must learn from them, not fight them blindly. General Karen Drell slammed the table again. Learning? While they stand here, we are exposed. Our fleets are vulnerable. Our colonies are terrified. Fear alone is not a reason for war, Darius said, rising from his throne. The humans are here. They are not attacking. We will observe, communicate, and proceed with caution. This is a turning point, for them and for us. A subtle threat. As the fleet hovered in tense silence above Zereth 9, the human ship's holographic link ended. The humans did not retreat. They did not make aggressive moves. They simply remained in orbit, observing, patient, and confident. Rylan felt the weight of command pressing down on him. Every move he made could determine the fate of the Empire and the galaxy. One wrong action could ignite a war centuries in the making. Prepare reports for the Council, Rylan ordered. Every reading, every movement, every detail. They are here, but they are not our enemies yet. Understand them, or we may regret our ignorance. As night fell over Zereth 9, the human warship hovered silently, a dark and enigmatic figure against the light of distant stars. For the first time, the Galactic Empire faced something it could not control, could not predict, and could not ignore. The humans had arrived, and the first contact had begun. The silence of space above Zereth 9 was broken not by weapons, but by tension. The human warship remained in orbit, silent and patient, while the Empire fleet hovered, unsure of the next move. Citizens below watched the sky anxiously, unaware of the delicate balance holding the sector together. Inside the Empire fleet, Captain Rylan Varys paced before the holographic display. Every sensor reading, every energy spike made him uneasy. The humans had not fired a single shot, yet their presence felt like a shadow over his entire command. "They're testing us," Lieutenant Zara Miles whispered. "Every move we make, they observe." Rylan nodded. "Yes, and one wrong move could ignite a war. We must remain calm, disciplined, and careful." But not everyone shared their restraint. In the Emperor's council chamber, General Carandrel argued for immediate action. "They have defied our laws. Their presence threatens our colonies. We cannot wait. Fire now, or lose our advantage." "Patience," Councillor Vera Loon countered sharply. "They have not attacked. We have no reason to destroy them. A rash strike will provoke war, and war with them will be catastrophic." The Emperor, Darius Vallon, remained silent, his dark eyes burning with thought. He knew both sides of the argument. Strength demanded action, but wisdom demanded restraint. One false decision could decide the fate of the galaxy. The first strike. Despite the Emperor's orders, a rogue faction within the Empire took action. A squadron of ships, led by a hot-headed commander loyal to General Drell, broke formation. They surged toward the human warship, engines blazing, weapons armed. Captain Rylan saw the move and his heart sank. "Recall them! Abort the attack!" he shouted over the comms. But it was too late. The rogue squadron closed in, their weapons targeting the massive human ship. The humans did not panic. Commander Celera Vey stood calm, her silver armor gleaming under the holographic lights of her ship. She gave a single command, and the impossible happened. The Empire squadron vanished. No explosion, no warning, just gone. The rogue ships had disappeared as if swallowed by the void. Communications flickered and died. Every officer in the fleet froze, unable to comprehend what had occurred. Lieutenant Zara gasped. "Impossible. All 4 ships gone." Rylan's voice was steady, but low with awe. "They are not just powerful. They are beyond anything we know. We cannot fight them, not yet." Lessons in power. The human warship did not attack further. It did not fire on the remaining Empire fleet. It simply hovered, patient and calm, a silent reminder of its superiority. Celera spoke to her crew quietly. "We defend, but we do not provoke. Let them understand that power is not only weapons. It is control, precision, and restraint." A young officer hesitated. "Commander, they might attack next." "Should we?" Celera shook her head. "No. If we strike first, we destroy ourselves. Wait, observe, learn. Strength without wisdom is weakness." Back in the Empire Command Center, reports of the vanished squadron spread like wildfire. Admiral Threxer Cade frowned deeply. "Their technology, it nullifies our ships. We are outclassed in every way. This is beyond science, beyond tactics. How can humans achieve this?" Even the Emperor was affected. Darius Vallon knew the human fleet's restraint was deliberate. They could have destroyed the rogue ships with ease, but they chose not to. It was a subtle lesson, a warning wrapped in calm. Tensions on the ground. On Zereth 9, panic grew among the colonies. Lights in the sky danced with unusual energy readings. Citizens whispered of aliens and destruction, and governors demanded immediate action from the capital. Rylan addressed his fleet through the comms, his voice firm. "All ships hold position. Do not engage. Observe. We do not understand them fully. One false step could spark a war that no one can control." Lieutenant Zara looked at the remaining fleet. "They're testing our patience, teaching us humility without firing a shot." Rylan nodded. "Yes, and we must learn it quickly or pay the price." The human perspective. Aboard the human warship, Celera watched the Empire's fleet. She noted their pride, their fear, and their hesitation. They were predictable in their unpredictability, a combination of curiosity and arrogance that defined the Empire for centuries. "They are learning," she said softly. "Curiosity keeps them cautious. Pride may force them into mistakes. We must be ready, but not the first to strike." Her officers nodded silently. Every crew member understood the importance of discipline. They were not here to conquer. They were here to survive, observe, and send a message. Humanity could defend itself without causing unnecessary destruction. A lesson in restraint. As night fell over Zereth 9, the human warship remained silent in orbit. Its presence alone had taught a lesson to the Empire. Strength was not only measured by firepower, but by discipline, wisdom, and restraint. Captain Rylan reflected on the day's events. The humans had demonstrated power beyond comprehension, yet they had not attacked. They had erased 4 ships without warning, yet left the remaining fleet unharmed. Their presence challenged every assumption he had about the Empire's control, their dominance, and their technology. "They are not our enemies, yet," he muttered, "but they are unlike anything we've faced. We must tread carefully." And for the first time in centuries, the Empire felt fear, not fear of defeat alone, but fear of the unknown. Humanity had arrived. They were powerful, patient, and intelligent. And the Empire's pride had been humbled. The galaxy had changed. The human warship hovered silently above Zereth 9, a dark silhouette against the light of distant stars, waiting, watching, teaching. The first clash had occurred, not of weapons, but of pride, patience, and understanding. And it was only the beginning. The Galactic Empire was reeling. 4 of its finest scout ships had vanished without a trace. Entire colonies were in panic. And the human warship still hovered silently above Zereth 9, calm, patient, and incomprehensibly powerful. In the Empire's capital on Varanth, Emperor Darius Vallon convened an emergency scientific council. The brightest engineers, scientists, and strategists had gathered, all tasked with a single mission: understand the humans, or risk being unprepared for war. Admiral Threxer Cade stood at the front of the chamber, frustration etched across his face. "Their technology is unlike anything in our archives. The ships that vanished, the energy signatures, we cannot explain it. Every sensor, every instrument confirms that humans have capabilities far beyond their known systems." Captain Rylan Varys observed quietly, his mind racing. He had seen the humans' restraint firsthand. They could have destroyed his fleet, yet they chose not to. But restraint was only one part of the story. Their technology, silent, invisible, deadly, was the real mystery. One scientist, Dr. Alara Vint, stepped forward. "We have theories," she said, pointing to holographic schematics of the vanished scouts. "Their ships can manipulate energy fields, perhaps even space-time, in ways we barely understand. Our scanners record their presence. Then, it's gone. The data disappears. It is as if they exist partially outside our reality." Murmurs spread through the council. Some officers shook their heads in disbelief. Others leaned closer, eyes wide. "This is not just technology," Dr. Vint continued. "It is mastery of physics we thought impossible. If they are willing to share knowledge, they could advance us centuries in 1 year. But if they are hostile, we are in danger unlike any we have faced." A secret observation. Meanwhile, aboard the human warship, Commander Celara Vey monitored the Empire. The humans had studied the Empire for decades before this mission. They knew the Empire's pride, its weaknesses, and its political structure. Now they observed the reaction firsthand. "They are scrambling," Celara said softly to her second-in-command, Lieutenant Cale Renard. "Their fleets, their scientists, their leaders, they are trying to understand us. And that is exactly what we want. Knowledge is power, but fear teaches faster than battle." Cale nodded. "Do you think they will attack?" Celara shook her head. "Not if they are wise, but pride may force them to act. That is why patience is our weapon." Rylan questions the Empire. Back in the Empire's command center, Captain Rylan reviewed every scan, every report from the colonies. The humans' restraint weighed heavily on him. They had the power to destroy fleets, yet they chose observation and diplomacy first. "Sir," Lieutenant Zara said, her voice cautious, "we can't ignore their capabilities. The 4 scout ships gone. Entire fleets could be wiped out before we even fire a shot." Ryland's eyes narrowed. "We have underestimated them, not because we lack intelligence, but because we have never faced an enemy who thinks like this. Humans are not just advanced, they are disciplined, patient, and strategic. We may not survive a war if we do not understand them." Zara frowned. "Do you think they are peaceful?" Ryland paused, staring at the silent warship above Zerith 9. "I don't know yet, but they are not reckless. That counts for something. One wrong decision, however, it could be the end of the Empire as we know it." The Emperor acts. Emperor Darius Valen stood silently in his chambers, listening to reports. For decades, he had ruled with absolute authority. But the humans were different. They had arrived not to conquer, yet their presence had already destabilized the Empire. He spoke quietly to Counselor Veraloon. "They could destroy us if they chose. Yet they do not. That is a strength unlike any I have seen. And restraint carries more power than aggression in the right hands." Vera nodded. "They are teaching us without weapons. A lesson in patience, humility, and strategy." Darius's eyes narrowed. "Then we must learn quickly. If we fail to understand them, the consequences will be catastrophic." A cryptic message. As the Empire studied the humans, a new message appeared across all communication channels. Simple yet unsettling. "We observe, but time is short. Decisions must be made carefully." Ryland read the message and felt a chill. Unlike previous messages, this one carried urgency. The humans were patient, but they also had limits. Every moment of hesitation, every misstep, could lead to disaster. Admiral Threxer clenched his fists. "They are warning us, but in their silence, I sense a threat. We cannot ignore this." Ryland spoke quietly, almost to himself. "It's not a threat. It's a test. A warning, yes, but also a lesson. They are showing us what we are not yet capable of seeing." Secrets within the Empire. As panic grew in the colonies and debate raged in the council chambers, some within the Empire began to question their leadership. Governors whispered about rebellion. Officers debated defiance. Citizens murmured about weakness in the capital. Ryland realized that understanding the humans was not just about technology. It was about diplomacy, strategy, and self-restraint. The Empire had always relied on power, but now it faced a species that could surpass it without a single shot fired. "This is bigger than fleets or weapons," Ryland said to Zara. "It's about understanding, patience, and knowing when to act. If we fail, it's not just the fleets we lose, it's the Empire itself." Calm before the storm, the human warship hovered silently above Zerith 9. Its presence was steady, a quiet reminder of what lay ahead. Commander Celerave studied the Empire's actions with patience, knowing that their restraint had already shifted the balance of power. "They are learning," she said, "and we are teaching. Soon the Empire will have a choice. Wisdom or destruction. Their pride may guide them, or it may destroy them." As night fell over the colonies, the Empire faced a reality it had never known. Humanity was here. They were powerful, patient, and disciplined. And the secrets of their technology and strategy were only beginning to be understood. The galaxy had changed, and soon the choices made in these silent moments would decide its future. The galaxy was on edge. The human warship still hovered above Zerith 9, silent and imposing, while the Empire scrambled to understand the impossible technology it had witnessed. Colonies whispered of strange lights in the sky, power surges, and vanished scout ships. Panic and uncertainty spread like wildfire. Inside the Empire's command center, Captain Ryland Varys stared at the holographic display. Every reading from the human warship was extraordinary. Energy flows, propulsion systems, and shields, none of it matched anything in Empire records. And yet, the humans had shown remarkable restraint. "They could destroy us completely, Lieutenant Zara Miles said quietly. But they haven't. Not once. It's unsettling. Rylan nodded. Yes, they are powerful beyond anything we've faced. But more than that, they are patient. Every action is calculated. Every move teaches us something. One wrong decision, and it could be the end of this empire. Admiral Threxarcade slammed his fist on the console. We cannot wait forever. Every day they remain in our space is a day they gather information. They may be patient, but they are planning something. We must act before they do. Rylan shook his head. No. Acting without understanding is what got those scout ships destroyed. We survive by learning, by restraint, not by blind aggression. The Emperor decides. In the Grand Council chamber, Emperor Darius Vallon addressed his generals and advisors. His dark robes seemed heavier than ever, and his eyes burned with thought. They have arrived, yes, he said, his voice calm but authoritative. And their power is undeniable, but their restraint shows intelligence. They are not here to destroy us. Yet, we will prepare, but we will not provoke them. Observation first. Diplomacy where possible. Strength tempered by wisdom is true power. Some generals grumbled, others nodded, but all understood the gravity of his command. The humans had already demonstrated that they could wipe out ships without a single warning. To act hastily would be disaster. A delicate communication. Captain Rylan initiated another communication attempt with the human warship. This time the message was clear, concise, and measured. Commander Celera Vey, he began. I am Captain Rylan Vares of the Galactic Empire. We acknowledge your presence. We understand your capabilities. We seek understanding before conflict. Please communicate your intentions clearly. The holographic image flickered, and Celera appeared, calm and commanding. Captain Vares, she replied, her silver armor gleaming. Our mission is simple. Humanity wishes to be understood, not to conquer. We are explorers and observers, not aggressors. But we will defend ourselves if provoked. We hope the Empire is wise enough to recognize this. Rylan glanced at Zara. They are giving us a choice. Peace or war. Celera continued, her voice firm yet calm. The galaxy is large, Captain. There is room for coexistence, if pride does not blind judgment. Choose wisely. And then the holographic link ended, leaving the Empire fleet staring at the silent, unmoving human warship. Tensions reached the colonies. On Zerith 9, citizens observed the starlit sky. Lights and energy fluctuations continued, and whispers of aliens and unknown power filled the air. Governors reported unrest to the capital, demanding protection and action. Rylan addressed the fleet, his tone steady. We observe. We prepare. We do not strike. Humanity is powerful, but they are not reckless. Let this be a lesson. Strength is meaningless without wisdom, and power without restraint is destruction. Even Lieutenant Zara, usually full of energy, remained silent. The weight of the moment pressed down on them all. Humanity was teaching the Empire, and the lesson was clear. Patience, restraint, and intelligence were just as deadly as firepower. A quiet challenge. Aboard the human warship, Celera watched the Empire fleet carefully. She understood their pride, their fear, and their hesitation. They were a galaxy used to dominance and unquestioned obedience. Now they faced a species that could match them, perhaps surpass them, without aggression. They are learning, Celera said to Lieutenant Kale Renar. Every hesitation, every debate, it shapes their understanding. They will choose wisely or they will fall. Kale frowned. Do you think they can resist attacking? Celera's eyes narrowed. Pride may push them toward mistakes. That is why we wait. But if they succeed, they will gain knowledge they have never had. And that is more powerful than any weapon. The turning point. In the Empire's capital, Emperor Darius reflected on the situation. The humans had arrived, demonstrated superior technology, and shown remarkable restraint. They had sent messages, made their intentions clear, and yet the Empire was still divided, between those who demanded aggression and those who urged patience. Darius realized the galaxy had shifted. This was more than a test of military power. It was a test of judgment, of pride, and of wisdom. One wrong decision could destroy fleets, colonies, and perhaps the Empire itself. Captain Rylan Varys, standing in the command center, understood the same thing. He turned to Lieutenant Zara. "This is the moment," he said softly. "Every choice we make from now on will define the future. The humans have shown us what they are capable of. Now it's up to us. Wisdom or destruction." The human warship hovered silently above Zerith 9, calm and unyielding, its presence a constant reminder that the galaxy was no longer theirs alone. The first contact had been made. The tests had been given. The turning point had arrived. And for the first time in centuries, the Galactic Empire truly understood that its era of unquestioned dominance was over. The next move, whether toward peace or war, would decide the fate of countless lives, and perhaps the future of the galaxy itself.